From President Trump's national security advisor, announcement of the most dramatic tightening of the U.S. embargo on Cuba in decades. Specifically, John Bolton outlined how a law from 1996, suspended by previous presidents, would be enforced, allowing Americans who've had property confiscated by the Cuban government to sue.
Americans who have had their private and hard-earned property stolen in Cuba will finally be allowed to sue. Anyone who traffics in property stolen from Americans will not be issued a visa to the United States. They are not welcome here.
This could unleash a sea of lawsuits against global companies, from Spanish corporations running hotels to Chinese and Turkish firms operating in Cuban ports. And many U.S. allies are angry over the move. Also tightened, travel restrictions that had been eased during the Obama administration.
We are also announcing that the Department of the Treasury will implement further regulatory changes to restrict non-family travel to Cuba. These new measures will help steer American dollars away from the Cuban regime or its military and security services who control the tourism industry in Cuba.
And for the Cubans who rely on remittances from family members in the U.S., new limitations. $1,000 per person per quarter.
The
extraterritorial application of the U.S. embargo is illegal. It is contrary to international law. I also personally consider it immoral. And in these 70 years, the only thing that the embargo has contributed to is suffering for the Cuban people. It has not contributed in any way to opening of Cuba, or to steps towards democracy or human rights.
It's a surprise that Miami was chosen as a location for Bolton's announcement before a friendly anti-Castro group, including Cuban exiles. This is an important constituency Donald Trump needs to impress in the nation's largest swing state as he eyes a second-term win in 2020. Bolton also unveiled new economic sanctions against Venezuela and Nicaragua. The other nations, he says, make up a troika of tyranny along with Cuba. For the Trump administration, this tightening is a campaign promise fulfilled. For the Cuban government and its people, it could be a devastating blow to an already stagnant economy, struggling to attract foreign investment. Nitza, Soledad, Perez, CGTN, Miami.